What's up, everyone? Today we're doing just basic cleaning, and there's a lot to be cleaned. This engine was pretty gross, but I wanted to update you on something really important. This one cylinder here was very rusted. It still has quite a bit of rust. I tried cleaning this engine up a bit today. She had a lot of grime, but we have been making headway. Now, the biggest issue with it is I can physically hang my nail on each one of the cylinders, which, as soon as you can do that, for me, it's right to the machine shop. Unfortunately for this engine, we don't have that kind of time, so I'm going to be trading it for a cord down at Uncle Tony's. So thank you very much to Uncle Tony's for basically, he's going to be contributing a block for this build, because I'm going to be getting a much better block than this one right here, which definitely has been out of the car at least once before. The other big thing is, all the bolts and pieces I have in different types of jars and stuff, they're all being cleaned with different types of chemicals. I have the oil pump being cleaned. We'll see how well that turns out. I want to make sure everything's really strong, because this thing's going to be pushed way past its normal limits. So we want to make sure that the oil pump is going to be able to handle it. The cleaner that I generally use is the Zepp Commercial Industrial Purple Cleaner. You can pick that right up at Home Depot. It's very, very concentrated. Do not get it on your skin, or it will be a very bad time. If you want it to bump it up, and I do not recommend this at all, I'm going to use that as my disclaimer. I don't recommend doing it unless it's not safe to do it unless you know what you're doing. Let's put it that way. You can add other chemicals into it, like lye and stuff, to make it a little bit more aggressive. That stuff is very, very, very aggressive already, but you add a little bit of lye, you're going to be just burning through grease. It does a great job, though. That was probably 15-20 minutes. Don't leave aluminum inside that for a long duration of time. Don't leave it overnight. Don't leave it for 8 hours. Really should only... I mean, it says, I think, 15 minutes to do it in intervals. I do it for 2 hours, and it seems to be fine. The head, or not the head, the intake came out fairly clean. I am going to wire brush this and paint it at some point in the next 2 weeks, so that when it comes down to, or when it goes down to Uncle Tony's, it'll be nice gloss black. At some point, the heads will also be painted, and when we get the engine and everything back, we'll paint the black as well. Nice high gloss black. As far as the heads, they spent about 2 hours in the tank area over there. I don't heat it up because I only have plastic, but if you had a steel one, you in theory could heat it up. Once again, be very, very careful. I've done it in the past, but one, if you get that stuff on you, it'll burn right through you. Two, if you get it and it's scalding, it'll burn. Just be very careful with this step. If you don't feel very comfortable, when in doubt, bring it to a machine shop. Unfortunately, machine shops are closed, so I am going to be doing another set of cleaning on this in a little bit, and you guys might get a kick out of that. But before we do, I just want to really quick show you how I take the springs off. You don't have the ability of reinstalling the springs this way, but it is a very quick way of removing them. That's pretty much all that's left on here, is just stripping all the springs. They're all going to have to be replaced. One, they're not going to be aggressive enough for this build. Two, they're very worn out. In fact, I can't remember which one it was that it was just super, super wiggly, but you're going to be replacing the springs. That's a must, especially if you're going to be putting a cam in. That's a good way to flatten your cam. Replace the springs. Let's see, or it'll just run like a total pig. So just use the appropriate springs for the job at hand. And it's very simple. Let me just set you guys down. I'll be right back. Now, I already kind of started out with something like this. This is just a larger socket. You're going to want to make sure that there's something underneath. So let's tip this forward or back or something. And nice and soft. Something like an old shirt works perfect. You set that right over. Make sure you have something in the end. Otherwise, that thing will shoot out like a rocket. Give it a solid tap. Oh, this one's really going to fight me. I don't think that's actually seating underneath there very well. So you want the valve not to go anywhere. There you go. So let's slowly remove this. We want to... Okay, let's see what we got going on down here. There's some type of gasket material or something in there. I don't know what the heck that is. Let's see what the next one looks like. So it's just the two-piece, but there was chunks of... Is that the old gasket? Yeah, I think this is our valve seals. That's exactly what it is. The valve seals were broken inside there. They're rock hard. Rock hard, guys. Wow. All right, let's keep knocking these out. Like I said, we're not going to reuse most of this stuff, but we'll throw it in a bag, bring it down just in case we need parts and pieces. I like to not throw anything away until the whole project's done. Got one of them out. There's the other one. This one came out a lot nicer. I got to find my little magnet. There it is. Hold on a second. Nope. Yep, there we go. So when these kind of fall down below, you can pick them right back out. We're going to go ahead and throw all those right in a cup. See what this one's like. Yeah, see? These things totally rock hard. So these will definitely have to be replaced. I don't know where I'll put the springs for the moment. So I'll go ahead, fast forward through this. Then we'll take the valves out. We have to make sure all the valves go back in the right way. So we'll put them through a piece of cardboard. What I'll probably end up doing is ziplock them individually with the corresponding locations. And that way we know where they go. So let me go ahead, let's finish this up, and I'll be right back. It's really that simple. I know it's a real pain in the neck to, you know, do it that way, but it really beats trying to take every one of them out with one of these cheapo valve pullers slash compressors, so that you can, or valve spring compressors, that would be the term, so that you can take them and put them back in and take them out and all this stuff. But if you're just taking them out, I've been doing it that way for a long time. I've never had a single problem. Just make sure you're not hitting the back of the valve. That's, you know, don't hit the valve stem. That would be a very bad time. Don't hit the valve stem. You'll be fine. Now, as far as the valves go themselves, they are very grody, so I am sure that we are going to want to polish them up a bit. So I'll make sure I take care of that before they go down to Uncle Tony's garage, because that alone will probably take me a day easily, because it's very precise. You can't, you know, go ham on it. If you're interested how I clean them up, I use a lathe. It's just an old cheapo Harbor Freight lathe. The entire internals have been upgraded with tapered bearings instead of the horrible Chinesium bearings that were in there. I highly recommend. There's a bunch of videos on how to do that online. I don't remember which one it is. This is 5 years old. I did it 5 years ago, so I don't know. But doing it that way allows you to at least get this correct. You don't want to just... I've seen people try polishing these in a drill. Freaking crazy. I like that they are dished. I'm a big fan of dished. And I like the fact that, yeah, the cast, I mean, they don't look too bad. Not casting, but the edge where the dish goes to the flat portion of the valve is, it's really nice. I have to admit, it has a nice taper to it. It's not so aggressive. Wherever you have an edge inside of an engine, you're going to have a hot spot that can cause all kinds of problems. And I was very disappointed with the LS ones. They were very abrupt going into their dish. And I actually took that portion out so that, actually, I could probably show you. I know, I get like 4 comments a day. My garage is a disaster, and I'm going to be breathing in fiberglass insulation. I'm an industrial electrician. I crawl around in this stuff. So until something like that happens, whatever. So these were the ones inside the 6.0. I probably won't end up using them because I'm not going to use the heads. I'll probably use them down the road, but I don't know how well you can see. After polishing them, you can see right where the dish began initially. Now the dish is way more subtle in this one instead of the really aggressive dish in there, which I really like that. But you can really see where the edge of that dish began and the flat portion of the valve was. And there's only so much I can do to remove the material, because you really just want to polish them. You don't want to be removing material. And the pot marks go in real deep. So each one of those spots is where there was a hot spot in its life. And that's what you're going to end up having. So you can see there was actually a fine cone in the center where these were originally made, or when it was originally made, I should say. And that fine cone, I don't know, I really don't know how well you guys can see that, but I hope it's not too blurry. But this line going all the way around it is where the dish began, and that really dark dot right there is where the cone was when they manufactured them. That's where you get all kinds of hot spots, and I don't like hot spots. So we'll make sure we don't leave any spots where you're going to get hot spots. We'll clean them up. These are what the valves look like when I got them. They weren't nearly as bad as the other ones, but you can see the edge. I don't know if you guys can see this. Come on, focus. I don't know. I'm sorry if you guys can't focus on this very well, but they were really not terrible. They weren't really good. Not nearly as bad as what these are. So I don't know. I'll talk to Uncle Tony if he has other valves he wants to use or what. But if we're not, I'll get these cleaned up. Always avoid any of the seats and stuff like that. You're going to end up lapping them. Don't hit them when you're trying to polish it. You'll ruin your valve. So I don't know. We'll see what Uncle Tony says. But next step is getting these things cleaned. So I'll be right back. And before that, I want to show you the official way to clean an Uncle Tony's garage hat. If you haven't gotten it already, go to his website. These hats are very durable. If you can't tell, I wear this quite a bit and it gets abused. So if you want a nice hat, shameless plug, we're going to go ahead and clean this because it is getting absolutely nasty. Okay guys, like I was saying, this is the official way you clean a UTG hat. Yeah, look at that steam. So once the hat's clean, throw it on your head and we can get back to work. Alright guys, now that we got these back from the cheapest machinist in town, I gotta say, they didn't come out as well as I was expecting. I actually ran it through the dishwasher twice, and it still came out like that. I ran these through the dishwasher once, and yeah, they're still a little grimy, but I didn't have to have them clean it. In fact, only thing I had the actual machine shop do was hit the head gasket surface and make sure that they did this pressure test on it, make sure there's no cracks and stuff in it, because this is going to be kind of like the Buick build. This is going to be a pretty high horsepower engine, and it's going to get a lot of boost. So for you guys that were busting on me for not wanting to save bolts, mind you, this is my first vintage motor, and almost all the engines I've ever built have been boost engines. And yeah, you don't, when you're dealing with, like, that's going to have 2 turbos, each one probably running 20 to 30 pounds. I built an 89 Super with 30 pounds. My average was between 18 and 20, which was kind of on the low end. But when you have boost and you add 2 millimeters on a in between the head and the deck, using just gaskets, you got to use really high-end stuff, and you can't reuse crap. So we will probably reuse these because we aren't really pushing a lot of power, and I don't really normally build naturally aspirated engines. So I will bow to the information that I've been given. I'm going to put these heads down before these heads are like crazy expensive. So and there goes everything. Okay, now that they're down. So yeah, we'll reuse the head gasket, or not the head gasket. We'll reuse the head bolts, not the gasket. The gasket is in like a million pieces. You couldn't reuse that if you wanted to. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. It was more just to update you what the plan is. We're going to be doing it on the 3rd, and yeah, don't be afraid to use your dishwasher if your wife allows you. But make sure when you're done, you clean it up. Although, if you have a really good dishwasher, it cleans itself. So, I mean, there's that. I think that's it. I got to clean up the mess that I just made. And until the next time, you have yourselves a wonderful day. Keep it shiny side up. And just try to stay healthy, everyone. Take care.